Hello viewers. Welcome to Seek Wisdom. Today we are here with the summary of book The Richest Man in Babylon. The Richest Man in Babylon is a classic book on financial wisdom written by George S. Clason. This book contains parables of Babylon to explain the universal financial principles that are considered to be the proven cures for the lean purses. Chapter 1, An Historical Sketch of Babylon. There was no more glamorous city than Babylon in history, surrounded by rich natural resources of forests and mines. However, this city was not having any forests or mines. Only resources available were fertile soil and Euphrates River. It was the engineering skills of Babylonians that diverted waters from the river and turned to provide city with abundant crops. Based on the riches, Babylon was attacked many times, but wisdom of kings that ruled Babylon kept its existence for so long. However, Babylon does not exist anymore. When human forces, that maintained it for thousands of years, were withdrawn, Babylon turned into deserted ruins. This happened when Cyrus, one of the greatest conquerors of that period, intended to attack the city. Advisors of Nabonidus, king of Babylon, persuaded him to go meet Cyrus and give him battle without waiting for the city to be besieged. In succeeding defeat to the Babylonian army, it fled away from the city. Cyrus, thereupon, entered the open gates and took possession without resistance. Such a wealthy city is today just a heap of sand. No one knows about it until it was discovered by carefully removing the refuse of centuries from the streets. Studies show that this was about 8,000 years ago. It was a walled city. Babylonians were educated and enlightened people. They were the first engineers, first astronomers, first mathematicians, first financiers, and first to have a written language. Though paper was not invented by then, communication was done through clay slates. Libraries of such clay slates were found during studies. They were the original inventors of money. The eons of time have crumbled to dust the proud walls of its temples, but the wisdom of Babylon endures. Chapter 2, The Man Who Desired Gold. This starts with the parable of Ben-Sir, a chariot builder of Babylon who has been building luxury chariots since many years. One day morning, he is sitting very depressed on a low wall. His wife tells that she don't have meals and he should work on the uncompleted chariot to get some money, but he is thinking something else. Then comes his friend Kobi, the musician, and requests to lend 2 shekels. To that Ben-Sir explains his financial condition, that he don't even have money to buy meals. Kobi tells Ben-Sir that he should focus on building chariots, but Ben-Sir is frustrated and explains his dream of being a man of means with a handsome purse, pieces of gold for future, pieces of silver to buy finery for his wife. He is thinking that despite working for so many years, he has not able to save some money and still he is struggling. This all is making him sad. Kobi also explains his financial condition, that his earnings also finishes very quickly. They both are afraid of their financial situation being skillful, still living like slaves. They compare their life with other rich persons. Now Ben-Sir thinks that there must be some secret being followed by rich person which makes them different. Kobi suggests their old friend Arcade, who is claimed to be the richest man of Babylon. So both decide to go to Arcade and asks for suggestion. Ben-Sir also urges to take their other friends also, so that can also be benefited by that advice. Chapter 3, Richest Man in Babylon. They all went to meet Arcade, who was famed for his great wealth. He was also famed for his liberal expenses, generous charities, and still each year his wealth increased more rapidly than he spends it. The friends compared him with themselves for their past and present. They all studied by same master, played same games, but today Arcade has become the richest man in Babylon while his friends are struggling for their survival. So they asked for the reason behind this difference. Arcade starts explaining about that. Since childhood he was observing the power of wealth, like buying gold ornaments, sailing distant seas, and many other in which there is delight for the senses and gratification for the soul. He desires to enjoy all that power of wealth. Being the son of a humble merchant, he was not hoping for any inheritance. So he understood that to get what he desires, he need time and study. He worked as scribe and hall of records. Laboring day and night, his earning does not seem to fulfill his desires when one day Algamish, the moneylender, came and ordered to get a scribe to be ready by next day. Failure to provide by next day would make him black pay 2 coppers. Arcade labored hard but was unable to complete the task by the time Algamish came, which made Algamish angry. Arcade made a bargain with Algamish that he shall work whole night and get the task completed by next morning. In return, Algamish has to teach him how to become rich, to which Algamish agreed. Arcade worked whole night without caring for his back pain, eyes pain, and got the task completed by next morning and asked Algamish to complete his part of deal. Algamish starts with the statement that when youth comes to age for advice, he receives wisdom of years, but often you think that age knows only wisdom of days gone and therefore profits not. But they don't know that same sun that shines today shone on their grandparents and will shine on their grandchild also. His first lesson was to keep a part of all the earning. He told to always pay yourself first, and it should not be less than 1/10 of the earning. Wealth is like a tree that grows from a tiny seed. The first saving is that seed. Sooner you plant it, sooner the tree shall grow. Also need to nourish and water this tree with consistent savings. Arcade follow this for 12 months until next visit of Algamish. Then Algamish asked for what he has done with the savings. Arcade replied that he had given savings to his ma, brickmaker, to buy precious jewels from overseas to sell them at high prices. Algamish considered this as mistake as buying jewels from a brickmaker and told to grow a new tree of savings. As per Algamish, anyone who takes advice about his savings from one who is inexperienced in such matters, shall pay with his savings for proving the falsity of their opinions. Saying this, Algamish left. He was right, as jewels purchased were fake, so Arcade restarted saving for next year till next return of Algamish. This time Arcade had entrusted a shield maker to buy bronze, who will pay him rent every 4th month. To this Algamish asked what he shall do with the rent. Arcade used that rent to buy wine, tunics, spiced cake. Algamish considered this as eating the children of savings and told him to first prepare an army of golden slaves to enjoy without regret. Now Algamish returned after 2 years and he had turned into an old man. He asks for the progress. Lessons learned by Arcade till now were: 1. Learn to live upon less than earning. 2. Learn to seek advice from competent. 3. Learn to make gold earn for you. Since son of Algamish was not interested in savings, so based on progress of Arcade, Algamish offered him to look after his lands and he shall offer him partnership in his real estate business. Arcade accepts that and started prospering in that land. After death of Algamish, Arcade became the heir. By this, Arcade finished his tale he was telling to his friends. His friends took this as his good luck, while Arcade considered it is his desire to be wealthy. Chapter 4, 7 Cures for a Lean Purse. When Sargon, king of Babylon, returned after defeating his enemies, his royal chancellor explained him the situation that after completion of building and canal works, now people do not have employment, so can't support themselves. The king asked for gold spent on the great developments. Chancellor explained that all gold has routed to the rich man of the city while other remained poor. The king curiously asks if why all can't learn to be rich and calls Arcade. The king tells Arcade to teach some teachers how to be rich so that they can further teach other men, and in this way, all can learn this and the city will become the richest city. Arcade asks to arrange class of 100 teachers and he would teach them 7 cures to fatten the purse. Accordingly class was arranged and Arcade starts explaining them 7 cures, one each day. He starts with his first class. The first cure he told is to keep 1/10 of their earning and manage the expenses with the balance 9/10 part. Leaving 1/10 part in purse every time will cause the purse to fatten. The second cure he told is to control the expenses. Understand the difference between necessary expenses and expenses to fulfill desires. Budget the expenses considering the essential expenses and other desirable expenses that can be managed with 9/10 of the earnings. We have to accept that great multitude of desires must go unsatisfied and should not regret for those. The third cure is to multiply your gold. Gold saved in purse satisfies only the soul but earns nothing, so it need to put to work to earn and make another stream of earning. This he explained with his own example of investing with brickmaker and then shield maker. Earning from saving again must put to earn more until there are many streams of earning. The fourth cure is to protect your treasures from loss. It is not wise to invest money putting principal at risk. So, before making any investment, one should consult experts in their field. Here he explains how his principal lost on trusting a brickmaker for buying jewels. Fifth cure is to make your dwelling a profitable investment, which means to own your own house. If a person can manage to make better use of one of the 9 parts, like paying to the landlord is an additional expense. If we take loan from moneylender and get our house prepared, then the amount being paid to landlord will be paid to moneylender to settle the loan. After this, cost of living will reduce a lot. Sixth cure is to provide in advance for needs of your growing age and protection of your family. As the age of person increases, his ability to earn reduces. So this cure states to make investments in young age so that the returns can be used in old age when your body is not capable of earning. This can be done by buying properties and putting on rent, depositing money with money lenders to get interest. Seventh cure is to increase your ability to earn. This is the most vital remedy of a lean purse. Each one is having a source of income. In each field, there are chances of improvement, like an artist can learn new tools to improve his work quality, a merchant can learn new ways to get items at lower price. All this will increase his ability to earn. The more of wisdom we know, the more we may earn. Chapter 5, Meet the Goddess of Good Luck. Everyone wants to be lucky, and everyone wants to know how to attract good luck. In Babylon, there were no schools or colleges, but there were center of learning. At that place, every evening, Arcade used to sit with people there and brainstorm on various topics. Similarly, one day, a person got a purse filled with gold coins lying on the road. Considering himself lucky, he requested to discuss the topic of good luck that day. Many people considered lucky on winning in table games or horse races, but as Arcade told, no one successful comes from that beginning. Amount lost on such things is always greater than amount won. In any occupation, there is opportunity to make a profit upon his efforts and his transactions. Perhaps not all the time he will be rewarded, for sometimes his judgment may be faulty or situation did not favor him. Yet, if he persists, he may realize to expect profits. But, when a man plays games, chances of profit are in favor of gamekeeper. Very few players realize how certain are gamekeeper's profits and how uncertain are their own chances to win. A merchant suggests to consider the successes that were almost enjoyed but escaped, happening which would have been most profitable. Two people sitting there shared such situation faced by them in which they got good opportunities, and taking those opportunities would have been most profitable. But they escaped them due to procrastination. Based on the discussion, it was concluded that to attract good luck to oneself, it is necessary to take advantage of the opportunities by overcoming procrastination. Those eager to grasp opportunities for their betterment do attract the interest of the goddess of good luck. Men of action please her the best. Chapter 6, The 5 Laws of Gold. This chapter provides another parable explaining other principles of wealth. An old merchant Calibab explains this tale about Arcade to his group, which he came to know from Nomasa, son of Arcade. It was custom of Babylon that sons of rich men stay with their parents with an expectation of inheriting wealth. However, in case of Nomasa, Arcade tell him to first prove his capability of wisely handling the riches. He has to prove his ability to acquire gold and make himself respected among men. Arcade gave his son a bag of gold and a clay tablet on which 5 laws of gold were carved, and told him to meet after 10 years and give account of himself. If he found worthy, only then he will be inherited the wealth of Arcade. 10 years passed by and the son returns. After the welcome feast, son explains his account and explained how twice he was deceived and lost gold. Situation came that for food, he had to sell his robes, slaves and horses. At that time, he started reading the laws of gold carved on the tablet that his father had given him. After learning them by heart, he searched for a job and started following the laws of gold and got successful in wealth creation. He presents his father 3 bags of gold against 1 bag that his father had given him 10 years back. Calabab sees the story at this and explains the 5 laws of gold. 1. Gold comes gladly and in increasing quantity to any man who will put by not less than 1/10 of his earnings to create an estate for his future and that of his family. 2. Gold labors diligently and contentedly for the wise owner who finds for it profitable employment, multiplying even as the flocks of the field. Gold is a willing worker. It is ever eager to multiply when opportunity presents itself. 3. Gold cling to the protection of the cautious owner who invests it under the advice of men wise in its handling. 4. Gold slips away from the man who invests it in businesses or purposes with which he is not familiar or which are not approved by those skills set in its keep. 5. Gold flees the man who would force it to impossible earnings or who follows the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers or who trusts it to his own inexperience and romantic desires in investment. In the strength of your own desires is a magic power. Guide this power with your knowledge of 5 laws of gold and you shall share the treasures of Babylon. Chapter 7. The Gold Lender of Babylon. This is a tale about Radane, a spear maker of Babylon who got a prize of 50 gold coins from king for his new design of spears. This much gold he has never seen and is enough to fulfill his desires, but his sister has asked for that gold as she wants her husband Araman to be a big merchant of jewels. So, Radane goes to Mathon, the gold lender, for advice. Mathon welcomes him with respect as no one comes to him for advice and starts telling his experience with different loans he had given. Some get paid, some get delayed while rest may never be get repaid. He shares his wisdom about lending, at what things he insures before giving loans so that it gets repaid, like some have property with which they settle the loan, some have gold ornaments, while others have skills with which they earn and repay the loans. Coming to Radane's matter, Mathon asks the knowledge of Araman in field of jewels. Without any knowledge, one cannot be a good merchant, so loan given to him may not get repaid. Gold is easy to lend. If it is lent unwisely, then it is difficult to get back. Mathon advises not to give gold to his sister as his husband is not having skill, neither he is having any plan, and 50 gold coins is an amount that would take him lifetime to save. So giving such amount to someone for an experiment is not wise, rather to put his gold to work for him and make it a source of earning. If you want to help your family or your friends, then find other ways to help than risking the loss of your treasure. Better a little caution than a great regret. Chapter 8. The Walls of Babylon. This is the tale of Babylon when king a major portion of his army has gone on war far away in east. That time, army for defense is very less in the city, and city got attacked from north. All the civilians are frightened, but the soldiers gave them assurance that walls of Babylon will save them. The attack continued for 3 weeks and 5 days, but the enemy was unable to break in. At last, the enemy retreated when a lot of their soldiers died and still failed to break in. Babylon endured centuries because it was fully protected. These walls were an outstanding example of man's need and desires for protection. In this day, behind the impregnable walls of insurance, savings accounts and investments, we can guard ourselves against the unexpected tragedies that may enter any door and seat themselves before any fireside. Chapter 9. The Camel Trader of Babylon. This is a tale of a boy named Tarcade, who is struggling and hiding from money lenders as he has taken debt from many, but unable to pay. One of such lender is Debaser, who finds him and take him to lunch to tell him his own past story. He himself started eating food, but to Tarcade, he only offers water and starts his story. It was when he was young, unexperienced, and got married. To please his wife, he increased his spending much more than earning by taking debts. Situation came when no one further wanted to lend him more, his wife left. So, he escaped and joined group of robbers, but was unsuccessful, so was sold as slave to Syrian desert chief who was having 4 wives. The eldest one, Syra, took him to ride her camel to her mother's home. On the way, Debasa tells her his condition, how he becomes slave. She inspired him a lot, which made his soul aroused, and he got determined to pay off his debts and become a respected man. She also helped him to escape. After covering the most difficult journey of his life, he reached back to Babylon and met all his lenders and assured repayment of debts. Out of them, gold lender Muthan helped him get a job in handling camels. Working honestly there, he paid off his debts and became a successful camel trader. It was only his determination that made everything possible. This story also inspired Takade and also become determined to work and get his debts repaid. Seeing that, Debasa offered him lunch and supported him. Determination has led all men out of difficulties and into success, and it will continue to do so for those who have the wisdom to understand its magic power. It is for any man to use who reads the lines. Where the determination is, the way can be found. Chapter 10, The Clay Tablets from Babylon. This is a letter written by a professor in Department of Archaeology to care of British Scientific Expedition, where he has translated 5 clay tablets received from the ruins of Babylon. The clay tablets were like a diary entry of Debasa when he came back to Babylon after escaping from slavery. He had written the advice given by Muthan, the gold lender, to keep 1/10 part of his earning to himself, 7/10 part he kept for his family and living expenses. With balance 2/10, he shall pay his debts. He made a list of all his debts and discussed with his lenders. Doing this, within 12 full moon duration, he has paid all of his debt and is now earning more. This method is adopted by the professor, who is writing this letter explaining the same debt situation he is going through and following this old method. He has also got rid of his debts and are now saving. This shows that those 5,000 years old principles are workable even in today's world. Chapter 11, the last chapter. The Luckiest Man in Babylon. This is the tale of Shahrunada, the merchant prince of Babylon. He is coming along with his caravan bringing Hadan Gula, grandson of Arad Gula, whom he felt he owed a debt of gratitude. During his journey, Hadan Gula asks the secret of his grandfather, Arad Gula, to make gold. Shahrunada tells his past story when he was sold as slave. He convinced a baker to take him as slave and teach him bakery. After learning, he made business proposals to the baker and made partnership with the baker. The baker took debts in the name of Shahrunada and lost money in table games. When Shahru was about to be a free man, the moneylender took him as slave. Arad Gula, who was also a slave and got himself free by partnering with his master, a daily customer of Shahru, freed him of the moneylender and made him his partner. In all this, there were situations when Shahru was about to face worst, but always escaped the worst, due to which he considered himself as the luckiest man. Reason behind this was the philosophy of Arad Gula and one of the friends of Shahrunada. The philosophy is to perform the best in any situation. Whatever job is in hand, we should perform it with our best possible effort. This was also his secret to make gold. For him, work was not only limited to slaves, rather he was very humble in his work. If you like this video, please give a like, share it with your friends and subscribe this channel for more such videos.